Lexi is a ceramic shop owner who resides in New York with her best friend Chrissy. The opening scene has Lexi meditating on her bed before going to work, when her friend and roommate Chrissy reminds her what time it is. So, Lexi gets off the bed, grabs the things she needs, and hurries to open her shop. A man is waiting in front of her store, and as he turns to walk away, Lexi comes running and opens the store for him. He likes a vase but decides not to buy it as it is out of his price range. After work, Lexi visits her friend Chrissy, who works in a restaurant as a waitress. Chrissy sits down with her and notices that something is going on. Lexi tells her that she is worried because her parents are coming over for her birthday and want to take her out for lunch. They are interrupted by her boss, who forces Chrissy to return to work. The next morning, as Lexi goes to the living room, Chrissy is in the kitchen making pancakes for her birthday. She also prepared some other things for her since she was too stressed to go out to lunch with her parents. Lexi goes to the hotel where her parents are staying and is welcomed by a rude receptionist who bites his tongue when he finds out her parents are the king and queen of Korea. She goes into a huge hall to meet her parents, where only one table is set up so they can have lunch alone. She tells her parents about her business and that she's also started to give pottery lessons. Her parents then remind her of how they let her live freely and do whatever she wanted when she turned 20. But then her mother tells her that when the firstborn child turns 35, they need to return to live with the royal family. Lexi does not really like this. Frustrated about the news she just received from her parents, Lexi asks them how much time she has. Her parents tell her that they've organized a gala in New York in 2 weeks and that they are planning to introduce the new princess to their guests there. Her father gives her an idea to make a sculpture that can be put to an auction at the gala, but if she decides to decline their offer, they will go back to their homeland, and since there will not be anyone to continue their royalty, her father must abdicate as king. After lunch with her parents, Lexi goes out to a bar with her friend Chrissy and 2 other friends who they haven't seen in a long time. But she is not present with them as she is in thought about what her parents told her earlier that day. Chrissy then catches a guy looking at Lexi in the bar and tells her to go talk to him, where she will go and drag him to their table. Lexi goes up to him and invites him to have a drink with them since it's her birthday, but the guy refuses as he tells her that he is working. Lexi thought that he is just the security of the bar and went back to her friends embarrassed. As she is taking a seat, they joke with Chrissy about her rejection, and shortly after that, they all get up to dance and have fun. The next morning, Lexi wakes up and remembers to check the pictures she took the night before with her friends, and then marks her calendar for the gala night her parents scheduled. She then goes for a run and notices the same guy from last night looking at her. The same thing happens when she is working at her ceramic shop. The same guy walks by her store and checks on her. On her way home, she carries a box, and when a runner almost collides with her, she figures out that the man is a bodyguard assigned by her parents. After the incident, Lexi calls her mother to confront her. The queen tells her daughter that Noah will be accompanying her on her dates because it's a tradition of the family to choose a couple of bachelors for the princess to choose from. At first, Lexi doesn't like that idea, but her mother persuades her to try it. Lexi meditates and encourages herself that she is capable of taking on her new role as the royal princess. Her friend Chrissy interrupts her meditation by coming home early. Chrissy sits next to Lexi and tells her she feels relief because she quit her job as a waitress and she is planning on finding a more serious job for herself. Lexi tells Chrissy that she will find a job that is destined for her, but decides not to tell her what her parents asked of her and doesn't feel good about keeping her best friend in her shadow. After their short conversation, Lexi is in her room finishing up her drawing of a dancer. The following morning, Lexi wakes up to a text message she received from her mother telling her that her first date is scheduled for the afternoon and that Noah has all the details about it. On her way to meet with her date, Lexi asks Noah to not walk next to her. Lexi's date doesn't go well. While she is trying to have a conversation with him, he is just looking at his phone. As she is walking back home, Lexi stops occasionally to see if Noah is going to stop, which he does, and she turns to him and tells him that since he is always following her, he should also join her morning run. Back home, Lexi is trying to do some pottery work, but it seems like her grip is off and she just can't get the sculpture to be straight. She ends up smashing it. In the next scene, Lexi and Chrissy are having food while watching a TV show about the royal family. Chrissy tells Lexi that she has a job interview the next day at a very classy hotel. As they turn to the TV show again, Chrissy starts talking about the show they're watching and says that she can't believe she used to watch it as a little girl because it's about a princess that has everything in life but is not happy until a guy shows up. She continues to tell Lexi that more movies about girls like them should be made. All the things that Chrissy said about the TV show have made it even more difficult for Lexi to tell her about the whole situation her parents put her in. The next morning, Lexi goes for a run with Noah, and as he tries to keep up the tempo, she starts sprinting to make him feel sorry. Once they finish running, Lexi lies to Noah that there is paparazzi. After that, she goes to a store and puts on a blonde wig and sunglasses to see if Noah notices, but he realizes right away it's her and keeps following her. No matter what, she can't lose him. Chrissy goes to the hotel where Lexi had lunch with her parents for her interview and is welcomed by the rude receptionist named Jonathan, who tells her that she needs to dress better. He lets slip that their current guests are King Alfred and Queen Charlotte of Kovia. Jonathan thinks that this is not the right workplace for Chrissy, which makes her upset, and she insults Jonathan and leaves the hotel. Lexi goes to her second date, and as she walks up to the guy that she is supposed to have lunch with, he thinks she is the waitress and makes an order. Charles, Lexi's date, is not impressed with how she is dressed and is even surprised when she orders a beer. But he goes along with it and orders a beer too. Noah, who is sitting on a table close to, notices Lexi's reaction about the whole thing and laughs at her. Lexi asks Charles about his age and finds out he is 11 years younger, to which he replies that he likes older women. Noah, on the other table, can't hold himself in laughs, which doesn't go unnoticed by Charles and Lexi. As the waitress brings them their beers, Charles continues to act even weirder. As Noah and Lexi are walking home after her date, Noah keeps laughing, which upsets Lexi, and she turns to ask him what is funny to him. When he tells her, she asks him not to listen to her private conversations as that is not part of his job. She then tells him that this might be just another job for him, but her whole life is turned upside down because of her parents' request. She feels lost and does not know if she can handle the pressure, which makes Noah feel sorry about how he reacted. Lexi goes to dinner with her mother and tells her that she does not want to be the princess. She begs her not to do everything they are asking for and just keep living her normal life. Her mother tries to convince her that it is her destiny to be the princess of Kovia, and that she can still be the person she is on the inside, but that her surroundings will change. Charlotte tells her daughter that she should not miss this opportunity, because she is afraid of it, because she will help a lot of people with her new role. In the next scene, Noah goes back home and sees his brother Mikey, a teenager who is in a wheelchair and has hearing problems. Mikey tries to avoid the conversation because he is shy, but when his brother keeps asking him questions, he opens up to Noah about a girl he likes. He freezes every time he encounters her and doesn't know what to do. Noah advises Mikey to go and just tell the girl he likes her because he wouldn't want to regret not even trying something. Then he comes up with an idea for Mikey to write the girl a letter, and they both get excited about it. Lexi gets back home while Chrissy is exercising in their living room, and the two have a short awkward conversation where they both light at each other. The next day, Lexi is trying to create a sculpture at her store, but it looks like it didn't turn out as she wanted it. Noah comes from behind and apologizes to her about the previous day. He promises her that he will keep more distance from her, and decides that he wants to buy something from her store. Then the man that wanted a vase from Lexi's store comes back, and tells her that he decided to buy it as it will fit perfectly in his restaurant. While Lexi is taking care of her customer, Noah pretends to have dropped one of her products to try and get her attention. But she doesn't even notice him as she is very happy with her sale. Afterwards, he asks for her help bringing his item back to his house. Chrissy is at home exercising again, boxing, and encourages herself about going to a new interview. Back at Noah's place, Lexi is having a coffee with him and his brother Mikey, who is asking Lexi questions. As Noah goes to get more coffee for Lexi, she and Mikey start to get along, and Mikey starts telling her stories of their past. Noah and Lexi's sympathies for each other start to grow, and they start to become closer and closer. The two go to a youth center where Noah used to go with his friends when they were kids, and he expresses his wishes that Mikey could have a place like this to visit instead of being at home all the time. Lexi asks Noah whether it's just him and Mikey. He tells her that their mother passed a few years ago. Noah walks Lexi back home before leaving. He hands her a card with his information and tells her to call him if she needs him. Lexi walks home while Chrissy has an online interview for another job, and they agree to have a second interview the next day. However, she doesn't realize she's still on the call as she disparages the man's voice. Unsurprisingly, he is unimpressed and calls off the second interview. Very disappointed, Chrissy almost starts crying, but Lexi comforts her that she will get the next one. Before going to bed, Lexi decides to text Noah and thank him for the day. The next morning, Lexi and Noah go for a run again. The two enjoy their time together, and they even go to her store where she teaches him how to do pottery. They have a lot of fun together. Noah's phone notifies him that it's time for Lexi's third date, which she doesn't want to do, but since it's her last one, she agrees to go. Lexi sits in the park with Marcus, her last date. It turns out they are in a similar situation with their parents forcing them to meet each other. They compliment each other, eat oysters, and enjoy the time together, which doesn't go unnoticed by Noah, who seems to get a bit disappointed because he started to like Lexi. On their way back after Lexi's last date, Noah and Lexi talk about Marcus and how he is different from her previous dates. Lexi asks Noah if he has a steady relationship since he is joking about her dates, but he tells her he has been single for the last 6 years since he became a widower. They stop at a fountain, and Lexi admits that the fountain is her favorite sculpture, and because she thought she would always live there, she stopped looking at it. But when she looks at it, the more beautiful it becomes. Chrissy shows up and remembers Noah from the bar. Lexi and Noah, all confused and not knowing what to tell her, end up lying that they started dating. Confused and a little embarrassed, Lexi even leans on Noah's shoulder once Chrissy leaves. They agree that it's time Lexi comes clean to her. Lexi arrives back home where Chrissy is watching TV but doesn't even greet her when she comes in. Lexi apologizes to Chrissy, but before she starts to explain everything, Chrissy's phone rings, another rejection for a job. Lexi offers to go out with her on Friday and have some drinks, just the two girls. Before going to bed, Lexi talks to her mother and is advised to be honest with her best friend and tell her everything, even if she decides to continue her normal life. Lexi asks Charlotte what would happen if she started dating a normal guy, but her mother tells her that she knows her father and knows that the guy their daughter chooses has to be someone that is not working an everyday job. As she is going to bed, she gets a text from Marcus asking her to go out again the next day. Lexi and Marcus are having breakfast. They both like art and see that as a good sign, but then Marcus says that he doesn't like all kinds of art, pointing out the vase from Lexi's store which he thinks is hideous. Lexi is embarrassed but lets it slide. Noah is looking at them and starts to feel uncomfortable. After they leave the restaurant, they go for a walk, and Marcus tells Lexi he fell in love at first sight. In the following scene, Lexi is having a glass of champagne with her mother, and they talk about Marcus. Her mother thinks that they are a perfect match, but Lexi tells her that he is only her date for the gala because she hasn't decided about being a princess yet. Noah goes to Lexi's favorite fountain and wants to text her but decides not to and continues on his way home. At the lunch with her parents and Marcus, Lexi sits and listens to her mother talking about how happy she is for them, and as Marcus grabs her hand, she looks at Noah. Then Lexi says that Noah has helped her a lot in the past 2 weeks. As the king thanks him, after lunch, Noah walks Lexi back home. Back home, Chrissy is eating the boxing bag again, but this time she looks angry. It seems that she's found out about Lexi's double life. After Lexi tries to explain everything to her, Chrissy interrupts and tells her that she will live with her mom because she doesn't want to live with a stranger. Noah is walking in the park when he sees Marcus talking on his phone about Lexi, promising that he can get whatever the person wants because Lexi is the princess of Kovia. Lexi, in tears from the conversation she had with Chrissy, rips apart the pictures and leaves the apartment. She runs into Noah in front of the building but asks him to leave her. He tries to warn her about Marcus, but conflicted and confused, Lexi doesn't heed his warning. In the next scene, Lexi is awake on the day of the gala, meditating on her bed. Once finished, she goes outside and stands in front of the building. When Noah doesn't show up, Lexi goes to the park for her morning run alone. She texts Noah because she has not seen him for a couple of days. Lexi is in her store when Chrissy shows up. Lexi wanted to show her a sculpture she made inspired by her best friend. The two apologize to each other and make a deal not to have secrets anymore. Before leaving, Chrissy asks Lexi about Noah, and she tells her that he is only her bodyguard. In the evening, Lexi is showing Chrissy her dress before they leave to go to the gala. The doorbell rings, and they both go out where Marcus is waiting for them. Lexi is curious about the guy that is with Marcus. He tells her it's his new bodyguard. She's suspicious but has no choice but to go along with it. Lexi, Chrissy, and Marcus go to the hotel where the gala is being hosted and are greeted by the king and queen who thank Chrissy for being with their daughter all these years. Lexi asks her father what happened to Noah, and he tells her that Marcus found out that Noah was selling pictures of her to the press at the gala. Chrissy notices Marcus taking pictures of the king and the queen. Noah and Mikey are having dinner together, and Noah asks his brother what happened with the girl he likes. Mikey excitedly tells him that they will be having a date next week. Then Mikey asks Noah about Lexi, but he tells him he doesn't work for her anymore. Mikey believes that's his opportunity to ask her out because it's obvious he likes her. At the gala, Lexi's parents show off the sculpture she made. As Lexi and Chrissy are talking and laughing, Lexi receives a message from Noah with a picture of the fountain. On the way out, she confronts Marcus, who confesses to everything, pleading for her forgiveness. Then her father shows up and tells her he overheard, regretting what he has done. The king makes a phone call. The king and the queen thank the guest after the auction is done and ask Lexi to say a couple of words. She gets on the stage and shares how difficult it was for her when she received the news from her parents. But after all, she's decided to be a princess. After the speech, as Lexi is rushing to go outside, her father stops her to tell her how proud he is and also informs her that her guest of honor has just arrived. She turns to see Noah, and the two go outside running. They go to the fountain where they apologize and kiss each other. In the last scene, Lexi and Noah make an official reopening of the youth center that Noah used to go to with his friends, and there they are accompanied by Mikey and his girlfriend.